So, I've been working on a track called, I think it's called The Mantle's Wicked Power. The Curse of the Mantle is a game which is an adaptation of a radio play from the 1940s. Yeah, it's available on YouTube, and basically what this is going to turn into is a walking simulator. So it's a storytelling type game. It's just almost like a visual novel with slightly more gamey elements to it, I guess. But it's not as involved as a full game with proper mechanics and stuff. This is a horror story. The plot is that there's this lady called Eleanor, and she finds this cloak. She thinks it's very nice, but unknown to her, there is this power within the cloak that starts to slowly possess her as she wears it. And then there's this other guy named George Helwys. Lady Eleanor is the antagonist of this dude named George, and it's about kind of what happens to Lady Eleanor and to George and to those around them as things get slowly worse as the story progresses. There's a little bit of a synopsis from a website called Old Time Radio Downloads. I'm just going to read it out, and then we are going to dive into this new track that I'm working on. So, The Curse of the Mantle. The story is also known as Lady Eleanor's Mantle. A noble woman whose seamstress is in league with the devil gets a new dress. She is eternally beautiful, but the price is paid by the townsfolk. A plague soon arrives. So the story revolves around Lady Eleanor, her descent into madness, and the effect on the townsfolk in the town that she's in as she continues to wear this mantle, unaware that she's being possessed by it. So, fun stuff! So, anyway, let's dive into GB Studio. Yeah, I've been working on this piece. Right now I've only got the intro so far, which sounds like this. So currently it's just that at the moment. You'll notice a few things about this track. One is that there's extra kind of sound effects provided by the noise channel on the Game Boy. I really wanted to use the noise channel here to symbolize the descent into madness and the effects of the possession caused by the mantle, the effects of the possession on Lady Eleanor, and the effects that ripple out from that. So the noise channel is there to signify the darkness contained within this mantle. I'm having lots of fun playing around with these effects. The Game Boy is actually surprisingly versatile for the fact that it only can play 3 notes at once, plus noise, which is usually used for percussion. Okay, so I'm just going to go into my process here now. I'm going to switch over into PDF Expert first of all and show you this. So this is the first idea. How I start these pieces is I usually start it in notation. This one was made in Dorico, but I'm currently using MuseScore for the current track because I want to see what the general state is of MuseScore these days. I haven't used it for a while, but I'm normally a Dorico user, so I usually write in notation first. I sketch out my piece in notation because it helps me get a good overview of the entire piece before I even start to make any kind of recordings or deal with any kind of sounds. Or I want to really make sure that I know what I'm doing with each piece of music before I even start recording it. So often I will either sketch out a piece from beginning to end and then go and record it, or if it's a piece for a client, as this is, what I will often do is I'll sketch out in sections or in bits. So I will maybe do 8 bars or 16 bars, something like maybe up to here, up to the double bar line, or maybe just up to bar 8. So I'd get that little section done, I'd know what I was doing with that little section, then I would go and record that section, and then I would go and send that to the client. That's often how I work with client projects, because these projects often require quick feedback. You don't really want to work on a piece for like loads of hours and then find out that it wasn't what they wanted in the first place. So doing it in bits and doing kind of each bit as its own individual stage actually ends up being a lot more efficient, especially if your idea either has to be shelved or it's not appropriate or it can be used for something else. Maybe a lot of times something may be not used at the moment, But later on, as the project develops, somebody might go, hey, you know that idea you did way back when? That might be good for this. So, it's good to have these ideas sketched out. Sketching is a really important process for those reasons, because if you go through all that work of recording things, or if you find out that a client doesn't like a piece of music, doesn't think it's right for right now, and then you just go and delete it or overwrite it and work on something else in its place, and then you have to go back to it later and you don't have it anymore, well, things are a bit tough to recover from when you get to that stage. So it's good to have the sketch to be able to actually know what your idea was, as much as you've done anyway, whether that's 8 bars, 16 bars, or the entire piece. At least you always have something to refer to know kind of how it went. And even though we're missing certain details here in the sketch, such as what instruments we're using, when you're working on chiptune stuff like this, chiptune music, by the way, is music that was played by the old video game systems. They called them chips because they were sound systems on a chip, on a printed circuit board within the machine. So these sound generators would be actual parts of a circuit board that would actually generate these sounds. So these synthesizers would actually exist on these tiny chips, and that's why it came to be known as chiptune, because every single old video game system from the inception of video game systems in the 1970s up to, I'd say, the early 2000s, with the Game Boy Advance and even DS, you'd have these sound synthesizers on a chip. Nowadays we have a lot more in the way of like CD quality audio and recordings of real orchestras and all that kind of stuff going into our video game soundtracks, and so chiptune has kind of become its own thing. It's developed kind of almost like a musical subculture type thing, and there are quite a few chiptune enthusiasts out there, and there are plenty of them on YouTube, and I'm sure if you search for chiptune on YouTube you'll find loads of people who are doing like remixes or their own original pieces using these chips. So yeah, that's the whole kind of reason why we're doing this in this way. I first played a Game Boy about 30 something years ago. So actually being able to compose the music for a game that's for that system, kind of like one of my childhood dreams in a way, so kind of stoked that it's being fulfilled right now. So anyway, this is part of my process. So I sketch out in notation, and then I go into GB Studio and enter the notation in and play around with the sounds, play around with the effects and things. Let's see if we can go through into MuseScore, and I'll show you the sketch for this current piece that I'm doing, and then we shall see what I can do to kind of enter some more notes into GB Studio, because I've got about a minute written for this piece of music. So here we go, we'll go back to MuseScore. Here we go. Okay, so that's what I've got at the moment. Still don't know what I'm doing past bar 12, but for now, I'm just going to enter what I have and figure out the rest later. So you can see there's a lot of things missing from a sketch. Essentially what a sketch is just the main ideas of a piece of music. You want to basically know what the melody is, what the bass line is, what the harmonies are. Nothing kind of subsidiary to the main idea unless you have room to fit it in. So we don't want to put too much detail in our sketches. We just want just enough to remind us what the actual idea was supposed to be, because the rest of it is going to be filled in either with notes, as you see I've got like annotations all over this sketch, or we can actually kind of write in these melodies. If I don't want to put annotations, I'll either write things in Musical.ly, or I might even print out a PDF and then scribble on it later, which is another good way of kind of marking up a sketch and changing stuff. sometimes taking a red pen to a printed out sketch or a PDF copy of a sketch is a good way of making changes without being influenced by being in the actual music writing app. Sometimes having that change of environment can really help to distance yourself from the actual creation process and have more space to kind of think, do I really want this thing here, or do I need more bars here? You know, you can really think about elements of, are things long enough? Are things short enough? Is there enough detail here? What instruments are going to play what? You know, all these details can often be figured out as the piece is being written. Often I don't know exactly what's going on with a piece of music, you know. It's very rare for somebody to be able to write a whole piece of music and know what they're doing with every single instrument, know which instrument is playing what, and all those details having been figured out, even in the sketch or even in the music. I think only Mozart was able to do that reliably. Many times this sketching process is an iterative one. So you do a little bit, you kind of mull it over, you kind of think about it, you make some changes, and then you go back and you alter stuff. And it's this constant cycle of doing something, then changing it or editing and refining it as you go. It's often not a case of doing something all the way through and then refining after that. It's often the refining happens as you go along, right? So this is very much what's happening in this particular piece, because I have a mood, I have a vibe that I want, but I'm not quite sure what I'm doing in terms of melodies or anything yet. So here's how the sketch sounds, and then we can compare it to what actually happens in GB Studio. So that's as far as I got in GB Studio. And when we compare it to GB Studio, we get this. Okay, so you can see that I've added some detail there. I've added some echoes, just basically increased the depth of things. All of the ideas that are in the sketch are in here, including extra detail where I thought it needed it. But you can clearly hear the resemblance between the sketch and what will hopefully be the finalized piece of music, if client approves. Thankfully, he has already approved the intro. Then we see if he likes the rest of it too. Well, up until what I've done anyway. Who knows where the rest of it is going. So I'm going to start at bar 5, and I'm going to enter in the whole of the top line from bar 5 to bar 12. So we've got this part here. And then you can see I've got echo written here. That's going to be something that I do in GB Studio. So even though that looks blank on the sketch, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing, and I can kind of hear it in my head. I hear how I want it to be, and then hopefully it turns out that way when I put it in GB Studio, but that remains to be seen. We'll see. So this whole piece is built around the interval of a tritone, because in the Baroque period it was seen as diabolus in musica, or otherwise the devil in music. So people didn't like the sound of the tritone in the Baroque period. In the 17th century, they didn't like things that didn't sound pure, and the tritone was considered the least pure of the intervals. They had some very, very strong views about these kinds of things back then, whereas today we hold no such views about the tritone. In fact, some of us try to use it as frequently as we can because it sounds cool. And not only that, but we have a greater tolerance for dissonance in our current music than we used to do as a society or as a human race, like back 300, 400 years ago. So yeah, this entire melody line is based around the tritone, and I'm using it horizontally. So using an interval like this of a tritone horizontally means to use it melodically, whereas using it vertically means using it harmonically, so using it as a chord. As you can see down here, we've got this tritone, this interval of the diminished fifth, that's underneath as a chord as well as on top as a melody. So I really want to bring this unsettling kind of vibe to this piece of music. So let's see if I can enter some notes here. I think I'm going to keep using the instruments that I'm using at the moment in GB Studio. I'm not going to use any different instruments. I think what I'll do in terms of instrumentation is I'll just write the music in and then I'll decide what instruments are playing what later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new pattern here. So it starts on G, and then we're going to want... I might want a different instrument for that melody. Let me see what instrument 1 is going to sound like. No. Yeah, maybe I'll try instrument 1 just for now. It tends to be the default instrument that I use most of the time. So let me get that entered into here. All right, so I'm going to use the computer keyboard, because this is a tracker interface. I'm going to use the computer keyboard to write my notes in. So we've got G, C sharp, G, C sharp, and then that's another C sharp, which is an octave above middle C sharp. Okay, cool. Just trying to remind myself of what I was doing. So this is 8th notes. Each line of a tracker, by the way, is a 16th note. Let me just make sure I've got the right... Yeah, I've got the right pitches. C sharp, G sharp. Oh, no. That's a weird thing about... That's the weird thing about GB Studio. When you Alt-Tab out to a different program and then back to GB Studio, it returns you to the first row of the pattern. I would kind of like it to stay where it is, but still, that's something that's a bit quirky about GB Studio that I hope they'll fix at some point. So C sharp, G sharp, no, G, C sharp, G, and then so that should be the whole bar. And then we have a B flat and a D. So I'm gonna... And then there's this kind of run of tritones here. So I'm gonna try and enter that in. So we've got as far as here. So we're there now. We've done this part. And then we're doing this part. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to GB Studio and see if I can put it in. Have I got this right in terms of timing? Ah, no, wait. Let's go back here. No, I've messed it up. Hang on. These are 16th notes, so they should be in every single line. My bad. No. Let me go again. And that can go away. 3 and 4. Let's see if that works any better. Yeah, that's what we want. Cool. We're going to do this part. E, B flat, A, E flat, B flat, E, E flat, A. So I'm going to hopefully enter that in. Here we go then. And by the way, this would be a lot easier if I could have a printed score in front of me, but right now I'm not working with a printed score because you guys won't be able to see it. So what I could potentially do is put it in a PDF, but sometimes it's easier to take it from the actual notation program itself. So that's what I'm doing today. So here we go. E, B flat, A, E flat, and then B flat, E, E flat, A. Nope. I need to go down here. Yeah. So we have this. Oh, no, wait. this lot should go earlier. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that should go there. Okay. Sometimes when you're working a tracker like this, things can be really, really, really hard to see, kind of in terms of rhythms, where you're placing notes and what you're doing. So that's why it helps to have the sketch, so you don't actually lose sight of the original idea that you had. And then back to MuseScore to look at the rest of it. Okay, so there's that. Okay, here we go with bar 7. So it's the same thing as before. So we can potentially copy and paste it. Okay. And then we go from... Oh, no, wrong one. I think that's what it was. So B flat, D flat. No, it's C and G flat. So C and G flat. Cool. So see what we do. And of course it goes back to the beginning, but of course there's more to do here. So let's go back to MuseScore, and this goes up. You know what, I should actually... Yeah, so the pattern changes. So what's happening is the bass line is going up by a minor third. So going from E to G, right? Which is a commonly used interval for shifting stuff up and down to make it seem more uneasy. And then I've changed the little melody thing on top, just to give it a bit of variation. So we're going to do that part next. You'll notice that 2 bars in GB Studio usually amounts to about half a pattern. So a pattern takes up 4 bars in length of a standard kind of piece of music. Each pattern is kind of 4 bars long. So we're going to enter that part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this entire thing here so that I know where the rhythm is, and I'm going to copy paste it. Copy paste it here, save, because you never know what's going to happen. Then we're going to go back to MuseScore, look at the next lot, and enter that in. So at the beginning, we've got an E, and then an A sharp and a C sharp. Then we go back to the A sharp. Oh, no, see? This is the kind of thing you have to faff around with GB Studio. Sometimes it's not as efficient as it could be. Okay, so E, no, G, C sharp, E, A, sharp. Okay, so that's up to... C sharp, A sharp. That was already there. And then C sharp, E. Let me see how that sounds. Oh, not quite. Da, da. Ah, that's where we went wrong. Should have been an E. Ba. And then C sharp, E. Cool. So now we've got, go back to Muse score. So I've entered in up to C sharp, E. And we have to enter this part. So G, C sharp, C, F sharp. Interesting. Yeah, because that's tritones. One there and one there, except the second one has been displaced by a semitone. It's gone down a semitone. So, yeah, it just adds to the kind of unsettling vibe. Because we get this kind of interval here between the F sharp and the G, which is the clashiest of intervals. Or distances between two notes. Anyway, cool. G. Ooh. So G, C sharp, C, F sharp, C sharp, G, F sharp, and C. Nope, a low C. Yeah, and then we basically have to copy this part at the beginning of this pattern. Actually, let's copy this whole thing. Then we can change what we need. And then we have a E flat A at the end there. Yeah. Okay, so we have this. Yeah. Okay, so that's fine for the top line. And now we're going to check out the middle line and see what we can do. Much simpler. So there's a C sharp, and then it goes up to a G and an A sharp. And it goes C sharp again. Then it goes B flat, D flat, A, C. So I'm just going to enter that line in now. Back into GB Studio, here we go again. Except this time on the Duty 2 channel. So the Duty 1 channel is my upper 2 line in the sketch, and the Duty 2 channel in GB Studio is the upper 1 line in my sketch. So I've got 3 lines in the sketch, 3 instruments in GB Studio. And that's kind of how I keep track of things between the sketch and the actual piece of music. Recorded piece of music, that is. So this C sharp looks like it needs to be lower. So let's go to use octave 3 and go there. Yeah. And let's reference the previous pattern. Ooh, you know what? I should really go back to pattern 1 and do that. Where are we supposed to go? It's actually back here in bar 5. So, got to load B flat. Let's use instrument 7. So we're here. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and then we get EG. Okay, so we've got as far as bar 6 on the score, and now we've got the B flat again, and then we go to G, B flat, and then G flat, A. So those are the notes I'm going to be inputting now into GB Studio. So let's go back there. So we're going to start from line 32. So each 2-bar segment starts after 32 lines have passed in the pattern. So we've done the first 2 bars. So we're going to do the second lot of 2 bars. So it starts with a B flat. That one. We go 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and then 3 and 4 and G flat A. Yeah, okay, cool. Let's have a listen to this pattern. Actually, you know what? I need to turn that off. Maybe what I can do is I can set the volume. By the way, I'm using an effect here, which is referenced by this number, and this letter and this number. So this particular effect you can see on the right hand side of the screen says set volume. So the C00 means set the volume to 0. And yeah, this is how you get all the fancy effects out of the Game Boy synth. You input all these effects and make the synth do crazy things. Like changing your notes over time and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I should start it from the beginning. Yeah, and then of course we end up having to do the second pattern, because if you don't turn off a note, it keeps playing. That's the thing about these old computer chip synths. It was basically note on or note off, and if you sent a note on but didn't send a note off, it would never turn the note off. So you explicitly have to tell it when to turn the note off. It doesn't just do it unless you put another note in the same channel, because each channel can only play one note at a time. So where were we with this one? So we've done all this. We've done 2 bars. Let's do the next 2 bars. Oh, hang on, wait. Let me just get my bearings again. And then we need to go C sharp. Oh, no. Not that one. Should be there. There we go. Okay. No, what am I doing? That should be an E. That should be instrument 1. Should be that one. That's C sharp. Oh, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and then G A sharp. Oh. No. Yeah, you always have to change this first one because GB Studio, as I said, does weird things whenever you Alt tab to a different program, or Command tab in my case because I'm on a Mac. There. And then we have another C sharp. That one. Yeah, so now we can listen to that. Then it goes back to the beginning. Okay, now we get to enter in the third line. So let's go back to MuseScore and check out what we need to do. Where are we? Fairly simple bass line. Shouldn't give us too many problems considering we've already done these rhythms in the other part mostly. So we need that. Is that the same note? Not bad, not bad. Yeah, that is the same note. And what we're going to do afterwards, once we've got all the notes in, is we're going to put all the effects in. And make it sound a little bit better. So we've got some echoes, maybe fooling around with the volume, automating various bits and pieces, but that can only really happen once we've got all the notes in and we know what space we can fill with interesting things. So let's get the rest of these notes in, and then we can have the fun times of playing around with stuff. Why is that instrument number 7? It'd be instrument number 1. Let me just make sure I'm selecting the right instrument here. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. E, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 E and. Okay. 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. And then I want to cut that off. Okay. 2 E and 4 E and. Actually, that cut should go at the same time as this cut here in the other part. And then we got the same thing going on again. Yeah, so then we get this. Maybe I can do that instead. Maybe I'll make it a bit more interesting. You know what? I actually prefer the sound of this cutoff coming slightly later. So I'm going to move the cutoff in the wave channel to the same point as where it is in the Duty 2 channel, just so both channels have the same thing happening at the same time in terms of cutoffs. Let's give that another listen. And then we have the notes to input in the other 2 bars. No, 4 bars. Okay, so we've done that one, that, that, and that. So we're on the G now. Should that be instrument 1? Yes, it should. Should be instrument 1. Okay, back to GB Studio. G. Cut off. Then we go to G again. Okay, so hopefully that should give us everything we need to actually hear this thing fully. Okay, cool. So we've got all the notes in. Let's see what we can do to make this sound a bit more interesting. It's like in the intro we had noise channel, volume changes, pitch changes, lots of stuff. So let's see if we can put that, some of that fun, some of that magic into this part. Ooh, the noise channel hasn't stopped. Let's just stop that for now. Let's see what volume is 100%. No. Let me see if this actually changes, because I'm not sure if you can change the volume of a wave channel. Let me see if you can. You can. Sounds a bit weird, but give it a listen anyway. Yeah, so what we're going to do, so I'm going to take this instrument here, number 7 in the duty channel, which is initial volume of 11. Okay, so let me put that there, change the volume to 11, which is 0B in hexadecimal. Everything in these trackers is done in hexadecimal, which is base 16, okay? So for those that don't know, base 16 is a different type of counting, okay? So in our system, we use base 10. Okay, so base 10 is what we call the decimal system. So we count up to 10 because we have 9 unique numbers, right? Well, no, 10 unique numbers, including 0. Okay, so that's why it's called base 10. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the next number after that has to go back to 0, but we have to add a 1 in the next place along to make the number 10, right? So our numbers in our units section, the rightmost number will always go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then when it goes to 0 again, we have to put a number in the next slot on the left, and that's why we get 10. Okay? And then once we exhaust all of those numbers, we go from 10 all the way to 99, and we've run out of numbers again. Everything goes back to 0 in those two columns, and we add one more column. And we put a 1 there, and we call that 100, right? So that's how base 10 works. Now, all these softwares for running these music programs in these chips use base 16. So there are 16 numbers before we get to the number that should be 10 in hexadecimal, or 10 in hexadecimal. But we don't have 16 numbers. We only have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So where do we get the other 6 numbers from in base 16? The answer is that we use letters to do that. So, and this is going to be kind of strange, after we get to 9, instead of going to 10, we go to A. And then we go to B, and then we go to C, and then we go to D, and then we go to E, and then we go to F, and then we go back to 0. So there are 16 numbers in base 16 before we get to 0 and have to go to the next place along. Okay, and that's how hexadecimal works. Hexadecimal meaning 16 in Greek, by the way. So I'm now putting a 0B into that column because 0B in hexadecimal means 11 in decimal. So in our numbering, that's 11. In hexadecimal, that's 0B. Okay, so a lot of using these sorts of softwares is all about translating between different numbers in your head or using a calculator. So, yeah, this stuff is kind of nuts sometimes, but yeah, it's what you have to deal with when you're programming old computers. And what I want to do is make this fade out. So I'm going to have the volume at 11, and then it's going to go down to... well, I want it to go down 4 times. So maybe it can go down 3 each time. Because we have kind of 12 numbers there, including 0. So we can go 11, then we can go 8, then 5, then 2, I think. So we're going to go 8... then 5, and then 2. Yeah, and then we get a fade out, which is kind of nice. I've just noticed that my fade out is at the wrong time in the other channel, so I have to make everything work properly. Actually, no. What am I doing? That. Now they're both wrong. They should be one line before that. Okay. So we've got a little bit of a echo, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit more pronounced by, instead of just fading up the note that we have, I'm going to make it play the note again, because that should hopefully make it slightly stronger. I'm going to do that here as well, and change that to instrument 1 and instrument 1. Yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try and see if I can experiment with cutting off before the note actually comes back for the echo. Not sure I like that. I want it to stay long. Should still be instrument 1. Yeah, and then what we can do is we can... Wait, no. We have to do the echo in this part. Because I said in my score that we have echoes. So we have... Actually, you know what? The tempo needs to come up slightly. This is slightly faster. So... Echo. Echo. Yeah, so I want these echoes to come in certain places. So. Echo, echo, echo. Yeah, that's what I want. So I'll just repeat these. Do 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 do. Yeah. Let's see if this works. I'm not sure if it will, or if it will sound like what I want it to sound like. But I'm going to try anyway. Not quite. That effect is not quite what I wanted. Let's try this instead. This is 11, 8, and then 5, and then 2. Yeah, it's kind of sounding like that, like I wanted it to. Let's put the cutoff there, and let's see if that actually works better. Maybe we can have the cutoff in one instrument and not in the other. See, a lot of this stuff when you're doing the recording is just playing around with stuff and seeing what it sounds like, which takes ages. Anyway, it has to be done if you want to discover cool things and make your music sound good. Yeah. So I might do something complicated, or more complicated. I'll see. I'll see if I can do it. But for now, let's copy and paste what we have. But let's copy and paste it only as far as there, because I need to do the echoes for that one. Okay. It's not bad. It's got a bit more depth to it. Yeah, so we're going to do the same thing again. C 0B, B, and that should be 8, 0, 8, 0, 8. And copy that over here. 0, 8, 0, 8, 0, 8. Yeah, let's see what that sounds like. So you see the difference between what we've done in pattern number 1 and what we still have to do in pattern number 2. You can hear that even though the music is there, it doesn't have the depth that it does in the other pattern. So all those effects kind of add little changes over time that help keep your audience's attention on the game, right? Because if the music is boring, then it doesn't enhance the mood quite as well as it could do, right? You don't want your music to be boring, because boring music can influence a game to be boring that isn't actually boring. A lot can be influenced about our perception of a game by how good the music is. The game could be perfectly alright, but if you've got rubbish music, well, the entirety of the game is just going to be brought down by the bad quality of the sound. So you want to make sure that your music is the best quality it can possibly be, because that reflects well not just on you, but on the game as a whole. Which is why we go into all this exhausting detail on this stuff. And then we go into that part. But there's one more thing I want to try. I want to try doing something odd. I want to try something. What is this? Initial volume 11 on this instrument, which is on number 1 on the Duty 1 channel. What I want to do is take that down by half. So 10, 5, 5.5. So let me see if I can do 5. And hopefully, if we can put stuff in the... let's see if this works. Ooh! Ooh, let me see if this actually adds something, because I do like that echo. Yeah, no, I like that. I like that echo. That echo is kind of cool. The only problem is we have to sacrifice our chord note. It can't be a semi-breve anymore, but it's got to end up being a semi-quaver, which is quite the change. But that's what you have to do with these systems, because they can only play one note at once. You can't have too many notes holding on at once. If you want to do something in one channel, or you want to do an echo that takes up 2 channels, you have to sacrifice something. It's a game of compromises. So you have to decide what's more important, and keep what's more important, and throw away or change what isn't as important. Which ends up being quite a fun thing to do when you like everything and yet it doesn't have exactly what you want. Ooh, no. Yeah, I can definitely keep that echo going because it does add something. And it even adds depth to the rest of it. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that there, put CO5, copy this there, CO5. I'm hoping the echo will come out in the next part because it is going to be not quite as prominent because there's too much stuff going on. But hopefully we can create the illusion of an echo. Got 3 lines, so CO5. Okay, so what was I doing? Yes, putting those echoes in. The only problem with putting the echoes in is it makes your music way harder to read. Makes it sound amazing, but you have to kind of parse out all the details now by looking at it with your eyes because you can't see very well. You have to just kind of decipher what it was you were trying to do because everything just looks the same as everything else. Adding so much detail, oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm lost. So there's like volume automation all over the place. Yeah. This is cool. I like it. I like it a lot. It's adding a lot of depth and making the sound chip go a lot further than it otherwise would. So we have. What are we doing? Yeah, CO8, CO8, and then we have CO5. Yeah, this has a lot going on. You can really hear the difference now. Like it's missing a whole lot of depth now. Like, the difference is just night and day. Night and day. Like, the sound kind of has a 3D kind of thing going on because of the echoes. Whereas you don't get that in the other pattern where I haven't done it yet. Okay. Guess we're gonna get started on this then. Alright, so we've got our echoes going on. Let's do the bass channel first because it's kind of easier to see what's going on. So every 4 rows we put a bass note. And then we change its volume. We can just copy and paste this because it's going to be the same thing. Yeah, in fact, let me see if I can copy this entire thing. And then hopefully if I just put the notes in the right places, it should come out exactly the same as before. Hopefully. Yeah, so it's kind of like layering echoes on top of one another. So, then we can go, no, this. Okay, and then the echoes were OB, 08, 05, 02. COB, C08, C05, CO2. These echoes continue, and this is B, and 8, and then 5, and then 2. Okay. Right. Let me just make sure I'm not losing track of where I am. I can technically put an echo, but I'll do that later. I can technically put an echo in the intro as well. That if I copy the GT2 channel onto the GT1 channel, we can get an echo in there too. Can you tell I love echoes yet? did I do it in the previous pattern? 8, 5, 2. So 7, 8, 5, and then 2. Let's try this. Ooh, I made a mistake. 5, 2, 5, 2. Ooh, no, I overwrote something. Let's get these notes back in here. What were they? I'm lost again. Yeah, so what I need to do is I need to put that there. And then, yeah, put this in. So I've got that echoed going on. And then we need to put instrument 7 back in. And then we need 8, 8, 5, 5, 2, 2. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Okay, we need to copy up to row 24. CO5, CO5. Here we go, CO5 and CO5. Here we get the D sharp. D sharp, no, that should be instrument 1. D sharp, A, no, D sharp, A, D sharp, A. It should be CO8, CO8, CO2, CO2. Ah, wow, that was a lot of work. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the noise channel over to the other channels because that signifies the influence of the mantle, the kind of possession of the mantle. So I'm going to copy that in because this is a recurring thing going through this entire piece. Yeah, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that over. So we're going to go 4, and then 3, and then 2, and then 1. Yeah. Hopefully this echo will come out. Yeah, it kind of did. Ooh, wait a second. Four, 6, 3, 4, 2, 2, 1. We can get rid of that. And we can do the same thing here. Wait, 7 is a 12.5% pulse. Maybe we can do 8. Let me see how this sounds, and then I'll try something else. 8, 4, 6, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, okay. Ooh, that adds a little bit of extra depth. That's kind of cool. Yeah, adds a little bit of depth. Okay. Can I experiment with panning as well? So that was something the client brought up. That was something we thought about experimenting with. But I think after all these echoes, might not have space to put the panning because we can only put one effect on one note at one time, which would make it very difficult to do echoes and panning at the same time. Anyway, we shall try and see if we can fit it in somewhere just to say that we've done it. Hopefully it sounds good. If not, I'll have to take it out. Okay. You know what? We might be able to experiment with panning in the wave channel if it can do that. Set panning. Yay! It can do that. I didn't know the wave channel could do that. Oh, is that how that works? Oh, it's a bitwise flag. That's amazing. That means you can change the panning for everything using one effect. That's mad. That's so crazy. Wait a minute. Let me try it. Let me actually try it. The left speaker for the wave. Right speaker for duty 2. Oh, this makes it so easy. So easy. Oh, come on. Ooh. But what happened to my noise channel? Oh. Oh, wait a sec. Yeah, this is gonna be mad. This is gonna be insane. Insane. This is gonna be crazy. I'm so glad I sorted out the rest of it first. Because this is gonna take a crazy amount of time to do. But, let me see if I can do this. So here, we want the duty 1 channel. So duty 2 is the right speaker. Duty 1 should be the left speaker. Actually, you know what? I want the wave channel and the noise channel to stay the way they are. The wave channel and the noise channel are going to be in the center. And duty 1 and duty 2 are going to change places. So duty 2 is going to be the right speaker. And duty 1 is going to be the left speaker. Let's see if that works. This could be exactly what we want. Ooh. Kind of going round my head. Let me see. So duty 2 is the right speaker. Let me put the wave speaker on there. Then we got the same thing again, but the wave speaker is on the other side. Let's see if this works. I kinda like the wave channel staying in the middle. Yeah, Yeah. I'll leave it like that for now. Cool. Right. That took a lot of work. But hopefully it will sound a little bit better. Now all I need to do is bounce that out and send it to the client and see if he approves. And then I work on it a bit more and see what else I can do if I need anything else to go in there. So just to reiterate what we've done so far, got 12 bars of music written out in MuseScore. We're going to play the sketch one more time so you know how the sketch sounded, and then I'll play the Game Boy Studio version, GB Studio version, again, so you can have like a full picture of how the sketch got translated into music. Okay, the actual recorded music. Here we go again. Okay, and that's what we have in MuseScore. Here's what the sketch sounds like in GB Studio. Going from the beginning, hopefully, if it's going to play from the beginning. Here we have it. And for now, it loops. But I don't know if I'm going to add any more to this. I kind of think I want to. Kind of needs a bit more of a melody. So I've got to try and think about that at some point. If it can go any further than that. Maybe I'll have like a minute of like a melody section, and then, that'll bring me to about 2 minutes worth of piece, because this is about like 58 seconds, roughly a minute of music at the moment. Also, the tempo was too slow, wasn't it? Let me go back to MuseScore and check out what the tempo was, and then see if I can make it a little bit more accurate. One E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and nah, it's accurate, it's fine. It's accurate enough, because these devices didn't actually allow you to have precise control of tempo. So, yeah, that is putting a sketch into GB Studio. I'm going to as I said, send this to the client, get his feedback, and continue working on it once I've received feedback. I'm going to call it a day there. I'll send it to Asatir, my friend, my client, and see if he likes it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good one.